A guy who was projected to go in the teens suddenly finds himself in top 10 conversations.
Sonny Styles had one hell of a performance, didn't he? Oh my goodness. I mean, you're talking about the door opening to go number 2 overall.
That's the Combine, baby. It creates as many questions as it does answers. So, let's break down 6 prospects who helped themselves and 6 who didn't. Rising, Sonny Styles, LB, Ohio State. If you watched the Combine and didn't come away thinking that Sonny Styles is a top 10 pick, well, newsflash, you weren't paying attention. The Ohio State linebacker put together one of the most absurd athletic testing profiles that we've seen in years. The guy's an athletic freak in every sense of the word. To put this all into perspective, he's taller than Mike Evans, faster than George Pickens, jumps higher than Devontae Adams, and is more explosive than Derwin James Jr. That's not a linebacker testing profile, that is a create a player from Madden. Calling Malachi Fields, WR, Notre Dame. Malachi Fields walked into Indianapolis with momentum, but scouts left with questions. The Notre Dame receiver had a strong Senior Bowl showing in Mobile, flashing the contested catchability and body control that made him a popular sleeper pick heading into the pre-draft process. But the Combine exposed the concern that followed him throughout his college career. Can he separate? Fields ran a 4.61 seconds 40-yard dash, the second slowest time among all receivers who participated. That number is a bit of a red flag. That archetype, the big receiver who wins with body control rather than speed, not every team wants to build around that. Rising, Thieneman, safety, Oregon. If you weren't familiar with Thieneman before the Combine, well, you probably are now. The Oregon safety absolutely destroyed his testing. He ran a 4.35 second 40-yard dash with a 1.52 second 10-yard split at 6 foot and 201 pounds. He posted a 41-inch vertical jump. He hit a 10'5" broad jump. Then he went out and looked smooth and fluid in every single drill. This is the kind of testing profile that moves guys from, yeah, he's pretty good, to we need to trade up to get him. Falling, LT Overton, DL, Alabama. LT Overton entered the Combine needing to prove that he belonged in round 1 conversations, but he kinda did the opposite. The Alabama defensive lineman, who transferred from Texas A&M after 2 seasons, ran a 4.87 second 40-yard dash at 274 pounds with a sluggish 1.7 second 10-yard split. He opted not to participate in the vertical or broad jump, missing an opportunity to answer questions about his explosiveness. And his on-field drills showed exactly what scouts feared: stilted movement and marginal change of direction ability. At 6'3" and 274 pounds, he's a little bulky to be an every down edge rusher, but a little too light to be an interior 3 technique. The tape at Alabama was solid, but unfortunately, the Combine raised far more questions than it answered about where he fits at the next level. Rising, Kenyon Sadiq, TE, Oregon. Kenyon Sadiq didn't just have a good Combine. Oh no, he had a historically great one. The Oregon tight end ran a 4.39 second 40-yard dash, the fastest official time by a tight end at the Combine, breaking the record Vernon Davis set back in 2006. Then he posted a 43.5-inch vertical jump, the second best ever by a tight end. And then an 11'1" broad jump, the third best ever at his position. At 6'3" and 241 pounds, Sadiq is running times that would be impressive for a receiver. He's jumping like a defensive back, and he's doing it all in a frame that can still line up in line and block. The Combine transformed him from best tight end in the class to potential mismatch nightmare who might make it past pick 15. Falling, Davidson Igbonos, CB, Ohio State. Davidson Igbonos has the size NFL teams covet at cornerback. Standing at 6'2" with nearly 33-inch arms, he looks the part of a press man corner who can disrupt receivers at the line and match up against bigger targets. The problem is his Combine testing didn't match his measurements. His 34-inch vertical jump was the second lowest among all cornerbacks who participated. His 10-foot broad jump was also near the bottom. His 1.58 second 10-yard split suggested a lack of the explosive first-step quickness that teams want in their corners. And his on-field drills were a bit concerning. Stiff hips, stilted movement, and struggles finding and adjusting to the ball when challenged. In a deep cornerback class, athleticism matters, and Igbonos did not show the kind of twitch and fluidity that separates day 1 corners from day 2 guys. Dennis Sutton, edge, Penn State. Dennis Safety Dennis Sutton was already viewed as one of the more polished edge defenders in this class. His combine performance just added a new dimension to his profile. At 6'6" and 256 pounds, Dennis Sutton ran a 4.63 second 40-yard dash, pretty impressive for a player his size. He posted a 39.5-inch vertical jump and a 10'11" broad jump, both among the best marks for edge rushers. And then he did something almost no one expected. He ran a 6.90 second 3-cone drill, the best time among all defensive linemen at the combine. The Brian Burns comparison is floating around now. Both are long-limbed edge rushers who play with their hair on fire against the run and are still refining their pass rush moves. Burns became a Pro Bowler. Dennis Sutton has the tools to follow a very similar path. Falling, Lee Hunter, DT, Texas Tech. Some guys just aren't built for the combine. Lee Hunter might be Exhibit A of this. The Texas Tech nose tackle entered Indianapolis as a projected first-round pick based on his tape. He's a 6'3", 318-pound run stuffer who clogs lanes and demands double teams. That's valuable in the NFL. But the testing? Ooh, yikes. Hunter finished last, or at least close to it, among defensive tackles in virtually every measured event. His 21.5-inch vertical jump was a full 6 inches shorter than any other defensive tackle tested this year. That is historically bad. But you know, perception matters. And when a nose tackle posts testing numbers that make scouts question his explosion and movement ability, well, that creates doubt. Teams that were willing to spend a first-round pick on a 2-down run stuffer might now wait until the second round in order to grab him. Izing, Jacob Rodriguez, LB, Texas Tech. Jacob Rodriguez entered the combine as the most decorated linebacker in college football. He left as one of the biggest winners of the week. The Butkus Award winner from Texas Tech was viewed as a productive player with questions about his athleticism. Well, Indianapolis answered those questions emphatically as Rodriguez ran a 4.57 second 40-yard dash, which was much faster than most expected. Before the combine, he was viewed as a day 2 pick who might fall to the 3rd round. Now, he is firmly in the top 50 conversation and could sneak into the first round if a team falls in love with his playmaking ability. Calling Emmett Johnson, RB, Nebraska. Emmett Johnson was supposed to be in the conversation for the second running back off the board behind Jeremiah Love. But, well, after his combine performance, that conversation just got a lot more crowded. The Nebraska running back ran a 4.56 second 40-yard dash, the slowest time among all running backs who participated. At 202 pounds, Johnson is not a power back who can overcome pedestrian speed with size and strength. He needed to show burst and explosiveness to validate his tape. And he just didn't. Johnson's 35.5-inch vertical jump tied for 6th among backs, and his 10-foot broad jump was near the very bottom of the group. Here's the thing though, Johnson is still very much a talented player, but unfortunately, running back is a position where athletic testing correlates heavily with NFL success. And Johnson's numbers suggest that he might lack the breakaway speed to be a featured back at the next level. Rising, Mike Washington Jr., RB, Arkansas. The Arkansas back ran a 4.33 second 40-yard dash at the combine, the fastest time among all running backs in attendance. At 225 pounds, he was also the fastest player over 220 pounds at the entire event. That is a significant detail. Speed at his size is rare, and it changes the way that teams view his NFL potential. Washington followed up the 40 with a 39-inch vertical jump and a 10'8" broad jump, confirming the explosiveness that showed up on his Arkansas tape. He is a physical downhill runner who can also take it to the house when he reaches the second level. Before Indianapolis, Washington was viewed as a day 2 back who might sneak into the second round if a team fell in love. Now, well, he is firmly in the RB2 conversation and could challenge for a late first-round selection if a team gets desperate for a workhorse. Calling Max Klare, TE, Ohio State. Max Klare was supposed to be one of the more polished pass-catching tight ends in this class. Instead, he left Indianapolis with way more questions than answers. Frankly, a continuation of his disappointing 2025-2026 campaign. The Ohio State tight end chose not to run the 40-yard dash or participate in the vertical or broad jump. That's his right. You know, plenty of prospects saved their testing for pro days. However, in a deep tight end class, sitting out creates a narrative gap that other players are happy to fill, especially after the season he just had. And then, his on-field drills just didn't help matters. His ball skills looked average, his change of direction was unremarkable, his routes lacked the suddenness that you want from receiving first tight ends. Klare's production at Purdue in 2024 made him a coveted transfer portal addition for Ohio State, where he was expected to cement himself as a top draft pick. But I mean, at this point, his prospects are looking very bleak. But hey, which prospect stock movement surprised you the most? Who do you think is being overrated after the combine? Who do you think is underrated? Who do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we're wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.